Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Alexa and today it'll be the episode analysis for Disventure Camp All-Stars episode 13. Before this video begins, a few things to note. The background footage is not owned by me, it is owned by Odd Nation Cartoons. Additionally, I have my own personal analysis /opinion/series, and if you have different, it's completely fine. For my videos, I do sections to maintain organization and simplicity. The sections for this video are the episode analysis, ranking of superhero costumes and powers, who's going next, and the conclusion. With all that out of the way, the first section can begin, the episode analysis!
Looks like we both can learn from our exes.
Yeah. Maybe one day, I'll find the one.
It begins with the usual recap and intro as we start with the last episode finished off, with Trevor crying on the rock, heartbroken as Nina comes to tell him that Marcus wanted to see him. Trevor, shocked they cared. Nina says Marcus cares about everyone here, them all. Then asks why he's jealous, because Crystal and all that. Nina is then shocked to learn it's Derek he's jealous of, while Trevor wonders why he's venting to a puppet. Nina and Trevor walk off, probably go see Marcus, which makes me kind of sad we didn't get to see the Trevor/Marcus interaction. Would have been interesting to add on to his later interaction as well. Also, need to see more of Nina this season, I swear. Going to dinner with Alec and Rhea, both for some reason didn't eat their food as they were shown extremely drunk, and go on a walk. More on them in a moment as we go to the heroes where Aiden has to go while they all make fun of him for being shy. And the fact they pulled the aleriya scene after this is still insane to me. They also reminded me of Just a Little Family here, which I find wholesome and hope to see continue. Going back to aleriya, this is probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire show. Being an aleriya shipper here actually helps. Anyway, Rhea is talking about herself as she asks to hear more about Alec. He tries to dodge it for a bit, but Rhea pushes, and he eventually lets it out, with Rhea showing genuine concern for him. Alec mentions how he lost everything, his wife, his son, deserved though. Episode 8 flashback. Whenever that story where he left that son in the glass shards thing, yeah, just no. Anyway, his job, his passion for reading, which, from all we know about Alec, was basically his only hobby. Aiden watches from afar as Alex says he'd give anything to hold Cheryl's, his wife's name, hand one last time. Maybe he could be a better father to Daniel, his son. He asks Rhea about it, which we get her complex side for the first time in like 10 episodes. Something to celebrate here, as she reminisces on the old times with Connor. As Alex says they could both learn from their exes, so it's confirmed Rhea and Connor were an item at some point now? And Rhea says one day she'll find the one. The way she looks at Alec when she says this, oh my gosh. Alec then kisses Rhea, as Rhea kisses back for a short time. Then she pushes away, saying they couldn't do this, and that no one could know about this. And as she walks away, Alex says, "Goodbye, Rhea." Before continuing this analysis, I want to quickly analyze aleriya. I'm analyzing this right now because I feel like whatever happens with aleriya will greatly affect both Alec and Rhea's characters in the future of the season going forward, so yeah, anyways, first things first, do they have feelings for one another? I think so, at least for Alec's case. Starting with Alec, he was not only the one who initiated the kiss, but when they had their second talk, he seemed so unsure and just sad in his voice performance as well in his expression. In other actions, Alec has proven he truly does care for Rhea. He chose Rhea for the dinner for a reason. For Rhea, it's a tad bit more tricky, however, I personally think she's hiding her feelings from the focus of the game. Again, this obviously could be more platonic in Rhea's case, but anyway. Rhea refuses to let herself change focus from being strategic, etc., so anything that gets in the way of that has to be taken away. Feelings for Alec or romance in any way is a part of this. Starting with the first point, she gets back for at least a short time frame. Secondly, she fully denied Alec doing something that could have been out of politeness too, maybe? I don't know. Thirdly, when discussing or even thinking about she kind of just instantly moves on how she can't focus, like sort of anyway. And fourthly, some of her actions towards Alec, like the acting lessons, she doesn't do that for just anybody, like she doesn't, the genuine remorse and care she at least had or has for him. Secondly, what does this mean for the future of both of their characters? Honestly, it's hard to tell right now. I do think they will have more Connor interactions and confrontations once Aiden eventually tells Connor, stupid move, but more on that later, And I do think there's a possibility they'll become canon once eliminated, but otherwise, I think it's more of a waiting game for the next trailer / episodes in terms of aleriya. Moving back to Aiden, he had watched this entire soap opera unfold as he wondered how Connor would react. Going to the morning, Grett is in her swimsuit, seeing Yule as she says this is what she'll wear whether he likes it or not. Gabby had given her this advice as she thumbs up back to her. They will be besties. They will! Grett says they should break up, but as Yule agrees, the way he notices Gabby instantly though. Oh my gosh. She takes it back and Yule bosses her around. Again. Then Gabby has my exact same reaction, as Yule says he's gotta separate the two being Grett and Gabby. Then goes to Rhea to try and blackmail her, saying he knows about the kiss and will go tell everyone. Rhea tries to keep her composure, as she is very mad at him, calling him a brat in the confessional. More on Aiden's plan in the confessional later on in this analysis. Going to the production tent, Crystal asks Marcus how to know when she likes somebody, as Marcus offers advice. Crystal then reveals she never had the time for anything like this, as she was too focused on making her father proud in certain ways. I think this biggest takeaway I got from this is Marcus got screen time. Regardless, Derek comes with flowers, and Trevik shippers, please let me live. Please, have mercy. But I thought this was really cute. He never shows any form of affection usually. So, anyway, Marcus comes and threatens him to treat her right, or else, with Derek scared for his life afterwards. Moving on to the challenge, Crystal tells them how they are all about to get superpowers based on their interviews they had with Emily. Miss Crystal and that snitch has done nothing else too. I'm a little bit salty about that. Anyways, the interviews reveal that Gabby gets shape-shifting, Connor gets super strength, Yule gets electrokinesis, the ability to use electricity, Aiden gets super speed, Jake gets telekinesis, Rhea gets firepower, I forgot the exact name right now, Grett gets hydrokinesis, Allie gets electricity, and since Alec was a smart Alec and didn't answer the question, he gets nothing. This was extremely funny to me. I wonder how it would have ended up if he did have invisibility, or if he was actually told over to do the challenge. Anyway, challenge then begins with the goal being to reach the top of the volcano, then further instructions will be given later on. Everyone spawns in randomly, testing out their powers, but the first person with the focus is Rhea, as she notices an eagle, which is not a bird, not a plane, it's Gabby. Rhea tells Gabby get rid of all the heroes however she wants, as the villains needed to win this. She agrees, and it is lucky she did not fight Aiden or Jake, or they would have been done for. Rhea then notices someone in the bushes as she throws fire at them, then it's revealed to be Alec as he somehow shakes the fire away. Really logical. In any case, the topic switches instantly to the kiss, where Rhea says they made a mistake while drunk and said she doesn't have any feelings. I don't fully believe it, but anyway. Alec awkwardly agrees as Rhea tells Alec what Aiden told her. Both go into more of a panic state as Rhea says they need to get him out so he can't tell Connor. I feel like once Connor finds this out, Alec is going to be under some strong crossfire. Regardless, the next scene shows Jake trying and failing to use his power to move bananas. Aiden shows up faster than the eye can see, giving Jake a banana and bragging partially about his powers. Both agree they have to get the villains out before they can get them, as Aiden tries to attempt to use direction, which causes him to crash into a tree. As much as I don't care for this dynamic, it's a ticking time bomb till Aiden figures out Jake eliminated James. That's gonna reset at least some of this development. I honestly had fun with the sarcastic expected here. I appreciated that. Moving to Allie and Connor. Connor is concerned for Allie as she uses her powers, whilst Allie is having the time of her life with this VR. The two find a cave to rest at, as Allie pushes Connor to utilize his powers more as he's scared. Soon, the cave begins to crumble as the two run off. It's nice seeing the two talk. It was a fun dynamic, though I think no interaction these two have can ever be. Thank you. I'm going there. Season 2, Episode 1, peak interaction. Back to twink number 1 and twink number 2. Jake asks if Aiden is alright, as Jake had noticed that Aiden had been on edge. Aiden is odded out by this, but eventually admits he saw Alec and Rhea kiss, which Jake isn't surprised by at all. Aiden points out this could hurt Connor, and the two discuss that, but before it can go into depth, Rhea begins to burn the area and throw them off guard. Fight scenes in this episode were a blast. This one was no different, as Jake and Aiden managed to beat Rhea and Alec, only because Alec is powerless mainly, but gotta say, respect putting any kind of effort in to win when no power versus people with us. Anyway, Jake also managed to figure out his powers during the scene, with him and Aiden working well together in the end. Next fight scene has Allie and Connor versus You'll Regret, featuring Gabby, as Yule shows electricity is much more powerful than I even thought it could be. Gabby also made me question how she even lost. When shapeshifting, she gains the ability of that animal/thing. Since there's not really limits, she could have transformed into Ned 2.0 and won it all. Speaking of which, going onto the volcano, the second part is to beat Ned, the best Disventure Camp character ever. Yule tries to beat Ned himself, but gets humbled real quick as Grett has to do it herself. Jake and Aiden are trying to think of ways to defeat Ned as Yule decides it's time to humble Gabby. Threatens her to stay away from Grett or else. Then we get the third fight of the episode. Gabby for some reason turns into a wolf. Turn into something he can't electrocute! Tries to attack but cannot as Yule gets her in midair, electrocuting her continuously, having the most fun all season while doing so as she screams in agony. First focusing on Ned, but when she realizes the real pain Yule is causing to the first person she's cared about much recently, she finally stood up to him. Holy heck yeah! Aiden and Jake wonder how the volcano hasn't crashed, big foreshadowing as Grett and Yule fight, and Yule gets eaten by Ned. Grett then runs to check on Gabby as Gabby thanks Grett for saving her, but while this is happening, Jake and Aiden mention the volcano is collapsing. Gabby's low energy and inability to use her power at the time, Grett and her fall to their death as Jake and Aiden manage to win as Jake loses both of them to victory and both gain immunity for the night. Jake have confessionals about how they actually make a good team together. I like this better than them bickering, though it's not annoying. While Yule goes up to Grett, giving her another chance. We finally get to see the old Grett a bit as she tells off Yule for everything he's done, while Yule, for the first time, apologizes in a last attempt to get her back to stay in game. He fails as she says the final goodbye to him. Part of me wonders what this would have been if it wasn't toxic, Yule wasn't a full boyfriend, etc. Regardless, Gabby calls Yule's absent. Oh my gosh. The Patreon names are just so wild nowadays. Alec is worried about how he tried to keep them together, but it didn't seem that way anymore, them being the Villains Alliance. The votes line up to be Alec, Rhea, and Yule voting for Connor, with Ali, Connor, Grett, Gabby, Aiden, and Jake voting for Yule in a 6-3 vote. And in the most iconic send-off yet, Yule insults everyone except Connor. Really, I'd expect him to insult him further, but regardless. Grett and Yule then have some pretty funny bickering here. Imagine we got more of that. It would have been kind of interesting, maybe in the finale and or the motel episode. And the episode itself ends off with 2 confessionals. This is from Grett, where she says she finally found her real friend in Gabby and realizes how bad she had been treating her wasn't right. It's just, if these two aren't besties. Aiden's confessional, where I think I need the "you are an idiot" audio right now, because he is convinced that telling everyone about the aleriya kiss will benefit him, and that is what will cause the Villains Alliance to fall apart. Which, like, how? Oh no! I think Tom hanging out with Tom for so long infected him with something. I don't know what it infected him with. Grett and Gabby are firstly a duo themselves, plus originally Yule and Grett were a couple and no one cared about that. As well, Gabby and Ellie was one, though they didn't go into alliance together at any point. Doesn't give them a reason to betray the two of them, plus Grett and Gabby have the brain cells to stick with the villains. If they go to the heroes, they will be gone the second aleriya is done. Once Connor knows, his focus will go insane. He won't be able to just game focus. You can argue he's fully over Rhea, but I don't buy it. There's no way aleriya would panic so much at Connor knowing if he wouldn't have some sort of reaction. And since Connor is the only reason the heroes are afloat right now in any capacity, it's going to disadvantage the heroes, and I'd argue Aiden should keep his mouth shut about it. It didn't even work when blackmailing them, so honestly, stupid move on Aiden's part, in my opinion. With the episode analysis finished, the next section can begin, ranking the superhero costumes and the powers!
Looks like we both can learn from our exes.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll find the one.
So for these rankings, I'm going to be starting off with the costume ranking, then moving on to the power ranking. I'll be going from my least favorite to my most favorite. Starting off with number 9 for the costumes, Connor's. I hate this costume so much. Every time I see it, I somehow hate it more. I don't like how the colors work. It doesn't give off any super strength. It doesn't give off Connor's personality to me, and I think it looks weird with more like extra accessories. It feels like an unfinished BTA design, and it's not for me. It's not something I like. Moving on to Jake, I used to kind of like this, but now it's kind of grown off me. First off, it kind of looks like Ladybug, and for those who don't know what I'm referring to, Miraculous Ladybug. Fun fact, I hate Marinette, I hate Ladybug, so reminding me of that is not a good sign. As well, I just don't like the circles. I think it looks a little bit off. That's my take, though. I kind of like the chin thing, I kind of don't. It's just mixed for me. Not nearly as bad, or my least favorite is Connor's, but still, moving on to Allie's. It's not bad. I like the Donatello look because, yes, Donatello, yay! But, I mean, otherwise, the goggles are okay. Everything is just barely okay with this design. And now we're gonna include Alec because why not? His quote-unquote super suit loses points because, well, it's just his normal design. So, I mean, I included it anyway for the lulz, but I mean, what's there to really say? It looks cool. It's a nice design. Moving on. Next up is Grett's design. I mean, it's grown a little bit on me, but I still don't really... I mean, I like the water look. I like how it gives off water bending. Like, if I see this costume, like, yep, that's water power. Good. And the blue kind of works better with Grett. I like the gold a lot. Like, obviously that's an unusual fit, but I like the gold. I like the cuffs. I like a lot of the aspects of the design. I don't like the shoulder. I don't like the, spikes. That's just my take. I think it's pretty cute though, most of the time anyway. Moving on to the next costume, which is Aiden's. I didn't think I'd be putting his costume this high on the list, but hey, I like it. It looks cool. There's really not much more to say. It doesn't really give off super speed. Does it kind of give off Aiden? I really like to have the mask. I appreciate the costumes that do have masks because, I don't know, I think they look better and it makes more sense, but I like it. I don't know what more to say. I like the blue on him. I think it looks cool. I don't know. Anyways, number 3 is Gabby. I want to put her costume higher, but I don't like the gray aspects. Otherwise, I think it's really cool. I don't get the wing thingies on her hair that much, but it looks cool. I love, like, the ombre little ankle cuffs. That's stunning. The purple's really pretty. Again, I think it's the gray that brings it down, but otherwise, love the outfit. Moving on to Yule. Is Yule enough? Like, Yule's outfit reminds me of Queen Bee. I know I'm doing another Miraculous reference, but come on, it looks similar. So, and it just looks gorgeous to me. I love it. It's like electricity. It gives electricity, gives Yule's personality. It does all the things. Easily one of my favorite costumes, but if I didn't have Rhea at number 1, I feel like I'd be doing a disservice because as much as Rhea has her flaws, her outfits are not one of them. I swear, this girl comes out with the best designs she possibly can for every one of these episodes somehow. This one's no exception. The fire looks awesome. It overall just looks fun. I like the fire cuffs. I like the colors on her. It just is really pretty to me. Alright, enough costume talk. Let's move on to power scaling. For power scaling, I'm assuming that there is no limits unless they put it on themselves. Because that's what happened in the show, and I have no reason to not believe. First off, we have to start off with Alec because he, has no power. Some powers can be like curses. Like, the first thing I can think of a curse type power is, so much hearing that you can't get freedom from that. Just, that's an example of curse. None of the powers I hear I would consider as curses, so, yeah. So, and Alec has none, so he's kind of... Starting off with Ali, I don't think this is nearly as powerful, especially as some of the other things on this list. Even if there's no limit, there's not really much she can do. Yeah, she can tap her opponent, but they can just use their powers to get free of that. For example, if Rhea got trapped and Ali wrapping her stretchy arms around her, she can just burn it. She can just defeat that. It's easy, and especially for a lot of the other characters, I don't think Connor would ever do this, but he could choke her. Basically every single one of these powers can defeat Ali, no matter her limit base, so I think this is definitely the weakest power. It might be controversial to put Connor's super strength down this low, but I feel like a lot of the other powers can just defeat it. Telekinesis can eat him. Super speed can just really confuse him, because super speed can really OP if used right. Grett perfectly showed here that water can just, again, defeat, and if Yule was actually more careful and actually paid attention more, he could have done it. Gabby, proof there, and I think Rhea could just do it in a close circle and defeat him that way. Basically every power here can one-shot. The only one he can really beat to me is electricity, so I think overall it was super straight. Even if he was more willing to use it, I don't think he'd be able to beat a lot of these powers unless he really knows perfectly how to use it overall. The next few was really hard to rank because I feel like all of these powers are really good. I feel like it's just those two that are really more mediocre compared to them. I'll have to start off number 6 by going with super speed, which part of me doesn't want to do that, but the issue is Aiden confirmed here that if he's in an enclosed circle, he can't go anywhere. So a lot of these powers can just enclose circle him and he's done for. For example, Rhea's fire, proof in the episode, he can just enclose circle and it's done for. The only one I think that really would work is Grett, but even then I feel like I have to put it higher due to she can beat a few of the other higher powers on this list. Aiden does need to master direction to fully grasp it, but I do think this is a really, really good power. It just turns out that his one weakness is like too weak, I would say, to put it any higher. Putting Rhea at number 5 is another controversial take, I feel like. Because it's still, Rhea's power is really, really good. And if she used it here really well too, I think she could one-shot a lot of these people, but I think her issue is A, Grett's water can fully defeat that. B, Jake proved here that telekinesis can do that. C, Gabby can transform into like any animal and still defeat her in the end, so the only one that's a maybe is just electricity, but he can just electrocute her and he would have no like problem with that. Therefore, I have to put a bit lower, so yeah. It's a really good power though. Grett, I have to put next. I do think her waterbending, I underestimated that, honestly. She could use that to defeat a lot of the people here, and especially if she used it correctly. She managed to defeat Ned, the best Disventure Camp character ever, easily. I feel like the reason she has to go lower is, again, I feel like the other people can beat her. If he was more careful, he can beat her. Gabby can just transform into a different type of animal, and Jake can just telekinesis her out of there. Yeah, but I do think it's a really good, and especially how she can beat a lot of the lower people on the list. Moving on to Jake. I didn't expect to put Jake this high. He would be higher if he, you know who uses powers more. Because I think he could one-shot basically everyone. The only one I don't think he could is Gabby, because she can transform into literally anything. Shape-shifting is so OP with no limits. And especially since, but that's for later. But overall, due to the fact that he doesn't have really, really good control over it, or enough to beat a lot of these people, I have to put him lower. I still think it's possible, as shown with Rhea. He can do it. He can. He just has to have a lot more focus than what he showed in this episode. For me, anyway. Moving on to Yule. I also underestimated Yule. I can't deny that. I swear. When you know how to use electricity, oh dear gosh, it's bad. He could destroy basically, except Jake if he gets full control of his powers. And I do think he's really, really good at what he did with the, like, power-wise. He knew how to use it and he did it really well. So I almost gave him the number 1 spot, because he did defeat Gabby, who is number 1. But here's why I put her in number 1. Gabby can get the ability, I know I keep repeating this, but there's a good reason. Gabby can get the ability of whatever she shapeshifts into. That is dangerous. And since it's shapeshifting, and we're thinking that she literally has no limits to her power, she can literally shapeshift into anything, get that ability, and beat everyone here. She can get every single one of these people's abilities if she transforms into the right animal. So therefore, there's literally no point. The only reason she lost is she didn't transform into the right animals. That's why I almost put her a bit lower. I decided to still put Gabby because of just how OP that is. But if she had, so you can obviously interchange these two, but if Gabby had a lot better control of what she was doing, she would have won the challenge easily. Anyways, moving on to who's going next.
Looks like we both can learn from our exes.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll find the one.
In this section, I'll be going over who I think will be eliminated next. I'll be starting with the heroes, then moving on to the villains. Starting with who I don't think is going, Jake. He has unlimited plot armor at this point, has his growth and Aiden plotline, and I don't see the villains targeting him just yet. Use him for the drama. I also think Allie is safe for now, due to Rhea trying to work in an alliance with her. Plus, I mean, they have to revive the haters arc, right? Leaving Connor and Aiden. Due to how the villains have targeted him continuously, they might continue to do so, even more and become knowing a kiss. Though I'm now leaning more towards Aiden. This plan could backfire so badly that he gets himself eliminated. If Connor is unstable enough and they want to make amends, they might send the one who causes to go packing. He probably can't win the tiebreaker either if there is another, plus people like Gabby and Rhea, especially, would be extremely happy to be sending him home, and it could allow them to capitalize on the Allie Jake rivalry again if need be. Moving on to the villains, I don't see Grett going at all. She just broke up with Yule, had her climax in her arc with Gabby is not finished yet, plus without the pendant she's been in Yule all season, it's a waste to not see her on her own for a bit. See Rhea going at all either. She just got handed on a silver platter multiple plot points, whether that be aleriya, Aiden's blackmail / attempt at blackmail, or whatever will happen with Connor out of this. Game-wise, I could see the heroes trying to target her, but they may need to take seriously that tiebreaker threat. To Gabby, I think she's fine as well, due to the aleriya situation, her voting off Yule, taking off the attention from the heroes to target her. She also has the Grett plotline to go for, plus no clue where her other side is at the moment, but it's gotta do more than just that. Like, what it's done so far, it's basically done. finally, Alec, who might finally have actual danger in game, Connor will instantly choose him to target. Specifically, I think he would feel more betrayed by him. Remember, Alec, though, did what he did to, quote-unquote, help Connor. It'll be thought he did it so he could get closer to Rhea without Connor as an obstacle. And that will get dicey and cause him to get targeted. So, out of all the villains, I think he's the closest to getting eliminated. With this section finished, the final section can begin, which is the conclusion.
Looks like we both can learn from our exes.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll find the one.
Your thoughts on this episode? Any theories / opinions on the costume / powers? I would love to hear in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day / night. See you next time!